Hello and welcome back to the second episode of the Alizee Yeezy show. I've not even edited and got out the first episode, but we're already on the second one, and we have a guest, my mate, and also YouTuber, Rachel Oates. Hello.
Hi.
Oh yeah, and Rob's over there still.
Hi, still here. I survived to episode 2.
So I think before we get into today's topics, Rob has something he wants to say to the entire country of Ukraine. It is a country, right?
That's worse than anything I said.
I don't know the difference between continents, countries. Like,
To
I
the
was
whole,
bad at
I would like to
geography.
apologise to
No,
the
I got
entire
A in geography.
continent of the Ukraine. Last week I said something very hurtful, and on further analysis, it's become apparent that I alone am not capable of beating an entire team of professionally trained athletes. So I'm very sorry for that, if anyone got offended by that. It's a country, it's not a continent.
Do you think it's funny how like this is your second appearance doing anything related to like this kind of platform, this thing that's like my job, right? And you've had to do an apology. I still haven't. After all these years, I still haven't. It'll come for me one day, but...
Do you think that's because you never do anything wrong, or just because you refuse to accept any kind of blame? Or
think it's
Or
'cause I
because
don't
you're
care.
in charge of editing.
you don't edit videos.
I just chuck them up. I just throw them up. So, terrible apology out of the way. Rachel, I mean,
Hi.
I'm sure like everyone that's watching this who knows of me knows of you.
Maybe.
And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think for a while some people thought we were the same person when I had dark hair.
Really?
Yeah, that was the thing I got for a while. They're like, oh, you're the one who did that video. I was like, no.
Huh?
No, not anymore.
Well, how could anyone mistake my big Ed for anyone else's?
I guess all English women look the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're both English with dark hair. It's
Do another apology right now.
I'm not apologising to the English for anything. They can't even win at football.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, England lost.
Many Simpsons memes later, here we are.
The memes were so good. I was part of I'm part of some meme groups on Facebook. I'm such a boomer still using Facebook, but there's one for like the IT crowd, and literally as soon as England lost, someone put up a meme and it's like of Roy, and it said something like England's hope of, you know, taking home the Euros, that had Moss been like goodbye for when like they played that D&D game, but they did it exactly like people had their folders ready. So Rachel, would you like to tell us some things like for people who might be
things.
uninitiated? What's your channel? What's it about? Why did you begin YouTube? Why are you here?
Oh God, I ask myself that every day. Why am I here? Yeah, so my channel started out like proper different from what it is now. So I don't know if you remember this, but I was doing like makeup videos back in the day.
Were you actually?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so I started YouTube as like a bit of a laugh for myself, and I was like, you know what, I really want to get better at makeup. So I'm going to record myself doing my own makeup and then watch it back so I can like see how to get better. And then some people started watching it as I was doing it. I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. And I started talking to one of them one day. I just had a bit of a rant about like an upcoming election, and some more people started watching it. And then I was like, oh, screw the makeup, I'll just talk at a camera for a while. And now, like 3.5 years later, here I am.
So imagine if you'd stuck with the makeup. You could have been, no, I can't say you could have been the next James Charles because that's a bad thing. You could have,
Yeah.
who does, I only really follow, I don't know, Soph does nails and Steph Toms. Those are the only people I read. You could have been a YouTube, you could have been Zoella.
Oh, God, don't. Yeah, no, it's all right.
And then after that, what did your content morph into? I know you did a lot of the
I did like a lot of atheism
stuff.
stuff at first, yeah. It was just like what I was interested in at the time. I've always just kind of done that and just like spoken about what I'm interested in. It's just kind of evolved. So I started with the atheism stuff, and then I went more kind of sciencey stuff, and then I just started doing more book reviews, and then that took off, and I did some poetry videos, and that took off, and we all know how that ended.
Really, really well.
Yeah, my channel grew a lot. It was great. Nothing else happened.
We don't talk about that.
But yeah, no, I've had a chance to read some quality content thanks to YouTube, like Lele Pons's book, Jake Paul's book, Shane Dawson's book.
Yeah, me and
Quality
you, we
content.
have beef over that Jake Paul book because I bought it months ago, and I messaged Rachel being like, don't you dare, I got dibs on this, I
know.
want to. But then to be fair, I did leave it a long
Months.
time.
Yeah.
Months.
So
I mean, I
I-
bought it like Christmas.
Oh, that's the thing.
Can't
so
believe you gave him money.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't say that. No, now I've got to do my apology. I'm sorry for giving Jake Paul 11
Enabling
quid.
Jake.
Oh.
He probably got like £1 out of that, but it's still a quid.
Did he
too
write
much.
it, or was it ghost written?
Oh, it's very clearly ghostwritten. There's this amazing bit in it where like there's this whole chapter and he's telling this story, and then at the end he adds in this footnote saying, "This was a hard one for me to read." Not write, read. It's so good. So clearly ghostwritten in places, but there are bits that, to his credit, I think he's written himself. For example, the first bullet point in the book, because the first chapter's bullet points. The first one says,
Of course it fucking is.
"Hi, my name is Jake Paul." I think he wrote that himself. So credit to him.
So he could
Yeah.
he could get at least 2 marks on any given GCSE exam for signing his own
Absolutely,
name.
yeah. I think, you know what, he could come out of a GCSE English exam with like an E.
For English.
Yeah. I don't think. No, but I mean, like, he wouldn't fail. He'd get a letter grade. Not a good one, but
I'm
he'd
going to
get
be
one.
slightly controversial here and say you would expect that from Jake Paul. You would expect him, like, if a book comes out, to be ghostwritten. Come on, no one's
Yeah.
going to him for the finer points of the English language, like, very clearly. You'd expect that. So it's like,
yeah.
is it forgivable? Oh, I don't know. I also don't care. But Zoella ghostwriting her books, that's
Oh,
always been
yeah.
such a bone of contention for me, because it's like, Zoella, you don't, like, no offense, I actually kind of like her. I mean, I love her Instagram. It's like, it's just
I did
wholesome.
I read a book before I started reviewing YouTuber books, and honestly, it's one of the best. It's not good, but it's one of the best.
That is ghostwritten though.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
true.
know, I mean, we see a lot of, I know too much about Zoella and Alfie Days. I know that one time Zoella, bless her, I say this with like peace and love, she sat there, she did this Harry Potter marathon with one of her friends, and they like spent the entire day, and then the next day, like finishing off, they did a whole marathon of like the films. So my point is something's wrong with my lip. The filler's finally breaking free. My point is that she of all people would have time to write a book properly.
I mean, just you saying that thing about no one going to Jake Paul for like English lessons has now kicked off an entire like musical in my head of, I don't know who Jake Paul associates with because I don't watch any of his content. I barely know who he is. But I'm picturing him like making a bet with a friend of his in like My Fair Lady style and picking someone who don't speak good and teaching them to become lady. But it's Jake Paul and one of his mates.
God. Do you remember when, this is only mildly related, do you remember when Jake Paul had his like online business school? And he called it, yeah, he called it Team 100. And he was basically like scamming a bunch of money out of kids to get them to subscribe to this business course so they could become influencers like him. But the course was never finished. So they were paying this subscription fee, and it was like, oh, you know, next lesson soon. And there were like 2 lessons on there. And he made like a crap ton of money from it. But he also had his Jake Paul Biz channel, which was like his business channel on YouTube. That was just him screaming like, you gotta work for it, you gotta want it. There was like no actual content in there, but it was fantastic
Wasn't
to
that
watch.
Shia LaBeouf? Isn't that just a meme? He just achieved the same thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Those ones, by which I mean like the LA YouTubers, because there's been a few of them. I think, was it Austin McBroom? I literally, I don't know anything about him, but I'm pretty sure like he's come out with some sort of, you know, how to grow your social
probably.
media. Like,
Yeah.
those types seem to do that. I'm getting really off put by like I can
Okay.
feel my lip growing. I don't know what I've done.
It is a little bit red. Have you like bitten it maybe?
I reckon that salad you had has taken its revenge.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like a British YouTuber like Alfie Days coming out with here's how to grow your social media channel, just, you know, silence my business, £100 a month, and I'll tell you all my secrets on how to consistently lose followers every month for the past 3 years. That was so mean. Please, Zoella, don't block me. I love your Instagram.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen. Well, I know. I think it would happen because you do get those douchebags who do it, but they're all like 40-year-old men who wear fedoras to like Costa Coffee. Do you know what I mean? And they call themselves entrepreneurs. I know this because I've seen them on Hinge constantly. They all try and match with me. I'm like, no, thank you. But like, yeah, they always. I'm telling you guys too much about my dating life here. Yeah.
Oh, is
no.
Hinge a dating app? Okay. Last one I used was Bumble, and it didn't go well.
Aw. Try Bumble
Not even
too.
not even a Bumble friend.
See, Bumble's okay, but like, so the women have to talk first on Bumble, which is a nice idea, like, in theory, but none of the men have anything interesting in their bios. So you're like, how can I start a conversation with you with like, all you're posting is like a bathroom selfie? It's very frustrating. At least on Hinge, you have like prompts,
Yeah.
and you have to fill in 3 of them. So there's always something to talk about, which is nice.
Well, you know, you should never talk to them if they're holding a fish in their profile picture.
Or wearing a fedora in Costa Coffee. It's a rule.
I used to just exclusively use Tinder, and even then it was using Tinder to laugh at people. And that sounds really mean. Not like laugh at how people look, but just there would be profiles on Tinder where it's like there's no people and there's no like real name. It's like some cartoon of some woman like whipping a man whilst his balls are being like, you know, held like in a death grip or something. And the profile,
Sorry, what?
No, it's true. I used to screenshot loads of these and send them to my best mate and just be like, look at the state of this. And the profiles would be like, you know, into kinky shit, like needing a woman to, don't know, like kick my ass with
Just gonna throw this
stilettos.
out there, but you know these dating apps, they kind of like, they get an idea of what you like and show you more of that. So you're telling us a lot about yourself here.
That doesn't make any sense because I'd always, what's swiping, which one is left or right for no? Is it swipe left for no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swipe no on literally everyone all the time because I have standards. No, that's really mean. I don't mean that. I'm just a bitch. Right, back to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you have any sort of idea of where you'd want to take it? Do you have any plans in the pipeline? Because I know we've privately talked about a few of things where we'd like to go with our channels.
God, I don't really have any solid plans. I don't really know what I want to do. Like, eventually, I want to kind of like, and this is going to sound really silly, but I want to make my own book. But I want it to be a good book, and I want it to be like an arty book, and I want it to have like lots of photos in, and paintings, and poetry, and kind of like mini essays and stuff. And I want it to be like the opposite of a YouTuber book. Do you know what I mean?
That's a really
Like-
good idea, though, and that's like a natural
Yeah.
extension of what you've been doing. Because, like, I
Yeah.
feel that when you go through bad books, sometimes I feel a little bit bad because I just think, oh god, if I ever get one of my books published, like everyone's going to come after me. Shane Dawson, Jake Paul, Gabby, whoever else, everyone's just going to roast me. They just won't be able to understand my satire because my IQ is just far too high.
Also, they don't know who you are.
How dare you? I think a few of them might do.
Do you
be
think,
fair,
do you think
if your
Shane
friends-
Dawson's going to come for you?
Oh no, he
I'm going to
wouldn't.
rephrase that.
Oh, he wouldn't.
No, I'm not going to.
He
actually.
wouldn't because he doesn't like getting his drama, but he absolutely knows like who drama channels are because he looks up himself.
Really?
With a mirror or?
Shut up.
Oh, God.
I don't know how I know that little bit of information, but I know it's definitely true that he looks himself up on YouTube and watches people's videos on him because, well, he's terribly insecure. So, yes, I'm sure he's seen some of the many videos I've made about his rubbish.
That's a whole different level of effort, though, to make a video to slag you off, possibly with screenshots, possibly with excerpts, of
Yeah.
whatever it is you've written.
Who would do that, Gabby?
You said you weren't going to.
Yeah, I thought that was off topic. What's going on? Yeah, she definitely knows who we are, so there you go. How dare you? People know who I am, the big Alizee Yeezy. They're all secretly fans. Ricardo Avocado secretly loves me. I'm sure he doesn't. I'm probably going to get sued for saying that. He likes me.
I'm not going to enjoy getting involved in both of your shit.
We're going to cause loads of drama with this. I just wanted this to be
I
nice.
don't even have like an internet handle. I've just got a last name, which I'm not going to let you use now. They're just going to have to find one of the many Robs in the UK.
Listen, back to the topic before we get into beef with so many creators. Yeah, that would be a natural extension for your channel because I kind of want to this year attempt to explore with my good mate Kez Motion behind the camera as always our version of young Jamie. Don't watch Joe Rogan. He is a bro head and No, we can't have a get out. We can't have a Joe Rogan supporter here. I used to think he was all right until I realised he's just a complete shill, possibly being paid off by NASA. I will die on that hill. That's a conspiracy theory that I created, but I'll die on that hill.
For me, it was the whole anti-vax thing. That.
Oh yeah, I don't even pay
was
attention to that kind of stuff. To be honest,
I'll be honest,
Oh,
the
it was
guy
sad.
the guy has a mind and personality made of hamburger meat, so
It's just very funny. It's a constant source of amusement.
it's funny if you're stoned. Sorry, like
have you ever tried DMT?
wow,
It's entirely possible.
wow, like money is made up and we're all just here existing on a certain frequency. Have
He's-
you seen that elk get hit by a car? I can do it too.
He's like a
Well, it's funny now, is
17-year-old,
it?
like
Yes,
who's just like finding stuff out at college.
when you're
He's-
stoned.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my God, did you know there's people who live differently to the way we do?
Whoa, man. Now we're getting into beef with Joe Rogan.
But you know what? I'll get into beef with him out of any of them because at least I understand him. Like I don't with your Jake Pauls and your Zoe Ellis with your no, but this like aging sausage of a man. Yeah, I understand what you are. I'm not impressed.
One of my favourite things he's done, not to get entirely off topic, but this is just what fucking happens apparently. One of my favourite things he's done is he was doing the carnivore diet, right, where he was just eating.
Oh my God.
He was just eating cooked meats and that's it. And he wrote on his Instagram about how, you know, he felt shitty at first and then he just felt so amazing. He had so much energy. But the downside is he literally almost shat himself on stage at like the Comedy Store in LA, like hot, raging diarrhea, not to get too graphic, not to paint an image. Just imagine Joe Rogan, pink face, sweating, like coming out of one edge. No, but
You made me apologise for talking about vomit last week, and now you're
but this
Joe Rogan shit explosion.
No, but he said, like, yes, that's all going on, and I'm almost shitting myself all the time, but I've got so much energy. And it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever water fasted, right? But after 3 days, once like all the carbs are out your body and you've switched over to ketosis, you get energy because your body is using its fat reserves. The same with keto, the same with the carnivore diet. So the fact that like you've got all this energy means fucking nothing, because you can have like, you can not eat for 6 days and have energy. That's just what your body does when it's like in survival mode. So like, what are you talking about, Joe Rogan? Shut up. You're literally like shitting on a stage. We're going to appear on like the Joe Rogan podcast now. He'll probably call me like an angry feminist or something. I don't know. He'll say something outdated.
I don't know. Let me on the podcast and I'll explain basic concepts to him. It'll be good.
Shall we talk?
I'm not getting involved in that one.
You don't want to come?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Shall we mention something about cannibals? You wanted to talk about cannibals or something. I didn't
I
think
walked
that
in on
topic.
this. What the
Walked
heck?
in on me saying, just
We didn't even have a drink at lunch.
That's
Yes.
after.
Yeah.
Shots.
This is
Rob walked
chaotic.
in to hear me saying, yes, it's just minor cannibalism, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm reading this book about cannibalism at the minute, but it's like I think in later chapters it touches slightly on human cannibalism, but the main focus is on animals and how like it's not as uncommon as we think it is. I know it's completely out of nowhere, but I thought you'd find it interesting because.
Why would you assume that of me, that I'm into a cheeky bit of cannibalism?
Well, we had a great conversation about mushrooms the other night, and this just kind of feels like a natural progression from that because you know mushrooms eat everything, and so like, well, not eat everything, but they
see. Okay, I'm with
cause
you,
things
right?
to decay. And so
Strapped
anyway,
in.
yeah. But anyway, so fun facts for you about cannibalism. Statistically, it's more likely for females of the species to be cannibals than males. Discuss.
Well, after mating, don't like spiders and praying mantises and things
Yeah.
eat them.
So,
And Priti Patel as well.
oh God, do you know that from personal experience?
I can see it happening. I can imagine her like shedding her skin and like.
See that?
Look, I don't want to get sniped by Boris, all right? We've already got Shane Dawson, Jake
He's
Paul,
got
maybe
enough on his
Gabby Hanna,
hands.
depends what mood she's in that day, I guess. Ricardo Avocado probably going to come after me for saying that he likes me. He probably doesn't. He probably just thinks
That
I'm
would be
mildly
insulting.
amusing. That's it. Joe Rogan and now Bojo to protect his cabinet.
God, imagine
Captain
that double
cabinets
team.
trapped in cabinets. Did you ever watch Mighty Boosh?
No.
You never watched Mighty Boosh?
No.
Did you? Oh, you didn't
Luxury
smoke weed,
comedy.
did you?
No, I didn't smoke weed and
What were you doing as a teenager?
crying mostly.
Oh, fair. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's not get sniped by like Boris Johnson. It's nothing to do with the conversation. Let's quickly, swiftly move away from that. Cannibalism, wow.
So, in invertebrates, cannibalism is like pretty much common. It's like more common than it's not. But it's also been found in lots of vertebrates as well. So I was reading this cool thing about like tadpoles, and this person, she goes out and she's like researching tadpoles in like these different ponds and stuff. And it turns out that the same little frog spawn eggs can be born. Like, this is interesting, okay?
I'm really engaged right now. See? Like, I can be engaged quite easily. Just
That
talk
was
about
apropos of
cannibalism.
absolutely nothing. I was listening to what you were saying and you broke down.
You just looked blank,
Just-
listless.
Just your face. You have like a natural like air of disbelief.
Resting Rob face.
Resting rump.
But yeah, so that the same like frog spawn can be born, and then for some reason that they still haven't figured out, different eggs Some of them grow like really chubby cheeks and really strong jaws, and they have kind of like not quite teeth, but it's like made of keratin. And some of them have that and these shorter intestines, and then others don't, and they have long intestines, and they kind of eat the planty bits and algae and stuff, and they stay small. And the others that have like the muscles and the jaws and the short intestine, they just eat the other tadpoles, and it's like an advantage for them, because instead of it taking like 30 days for them to go from tadpole to frog or toad, it takes like, I think they said about 8 days to go from tadpole to frog or toad.
So what you're saying is the natural extension of Joe Rogan's evolution will be to move on from hunting and eating wild elk and jalapenos. I shouldn't know this crap about people, just like inane fucking the minutiae, like mundane details about people's lives. He could be a cannibal. And then it'll be like a mega evolution for Joe Rogan.
Congratulations, your Joe Rogan evolved into some kind of frogman. Who's that podcaster? So the Chad cannibal tadpole versus the lame virgin vegetarian algae eating tadpole.
Oh, what? I don't want to be a lame virgin. Like, no offense to any virgins, it's just a meme. Does this mean that because I'm a vegan,
Yes.
I should be a cannibal just to be a bit more chaddish?
Maybe.
If it's consensual, it's still vegan.
Well, I saw a thread on Reddit once, and I believe Justin Wang did a video on this. Did I do a video on this? I can't remember. I can't keep up. I think he did a video, and then...
Can you not remember if you're Rachel Oates either?
Oh, yeah. Apparently people got me and Rachel Oates confused for a while when she had darker hair, which I don't understand. I look like a budget Noel Fielding.
You know, you said that at like the beginning. Well, we said that at the beginning of the podcast.
Did we?
Yeah.
We'll just loop it round.
Where I am. I don't know what's going on.
I'm starting to
today.
see why you don't know which videos you filmed. Yeah.
I already had like 4 hours sleep. I was watching The Walking Dead until really late last night because I couldn't sleep properly.
I wish I could use that excuse in any other line of work. Your work has been appalling this month. I know. I've just been watching loads of Walking Dead. Oh, fair enough.
Anyway,
Sort it out.
there was this thread on Reddit once. Some man had to get the lower half of his leg amputated because he was in an accident. So he elected to keep the meat, turn the meat into taco meat, and had his friends consensually eat the taco meat leg. And they had a nice time eating his meaty taco leg. Would you do that?
Is it served in the tortilla?
Tortilla.
Thank you.
Shut up.
You can say it.
Shut up. I've literally apologised that. I've mentioned that. Like, look,
Apologise to the Ukraine.
Look, Ukraine, I'm sorry. I can't say tortilla right, okay? I've never said tortilla as tortilla, but it came out in one video because
I saw it with the blanket. I was appalled. I went down to the comments and everyone was like, tortilla? I was like, thank you.
I saw a comment on like one of my recent videos saying something about they were confused about British people's pronunciation, and then they heard me say tortilla, and they were like, oh, so that's how British people say it. And it's like, no, it's not indicative of the whole country. It's just me being stupid. Sorry.
No, I worked with a chef from Bristol who insisted on pronouncing it Casadilia. Not on.
No, but can people move on from it? I've never said it before like that, but I think my brain like
Once is
subconsciously
enough.
tricks me up,
Yeah.
like trips me up.
It's on the internet forever now.
Yeah, people will get over it in 2 months' time, won't they? I'll take a break, come back, a little apology video, put my makeup on, business as usual, make some cookies.
Would you apologise though?
No, I'll make myself the victim somehow.
Okay.
I'm referencing a James Charles video that I just filmed last night where he proceeded to somehow make himself the victim of everything.
Oh,
it was
so,
astonishing.
I was watching this YouTube. There's a term for that. It's called trauma dumping, and it's like a lot of people use it as like a deflective thing. So it's like if you called out for something, it's like, oh well, I went through. So like for you, someone called you out for like doing the tortilla thing, you'd be like, well, I had a speech impediment as a child and I was bullied and I had this and this and this and then my parents beat me and it was really bad. So it's not my fault. And that's basically kind of like trauma dumping, because you're like saying all this bad stuff happened to me and it's all an excuse. So I'm not responsible for saying tortilla.
I'm going to save that one in the old memory bank for later.
I'm not excusing you.
I'll just blame everything on like formerly being a massive cokehead. That's my stand. But I was a bit of an arsehole. Yeah, well, 2 years ago I was raging on the coke. It doesn't really fly anymore because 2 years later you've got to have some growth and development.
Yeah.
Oh, not if you're a
I look forward
YouTuber.
to seeing that.
Yeah, not if you're a YouTuber. It's actually bizarre, right? So let's dive a little bit into that because obviously it pertains to what we do.
Yeah.
I am no longer going to give a shit about anything I do or say ever again, because all you need to do is take a minor break and then come back, and most people will be over it a few videos in. James Charles video, the comeback one, because I just did it. This information's fresh in my memory because I just did it last night. 63% like to dislike ratio on that one. So like that's bad, but it's not even 50-50.
I do have kind of like a theory on this though, because like I think if you let people get their anger out and you let them express it and you give them a place to express it, then they'll be more likely to forgive you when you come back or try and make amends or whatever. If you try and shut the conversation down, it's like the Streisand effect, isn't it? People are going to get angrier and it's going to get worse and worse. So
you're totally right, because one time Ryland Adams, Shane Dawson's fiance,
my God,
he
I
has a
remember
podcast
this.
called The Sip, and the Alizee
Yeah.
Yeezy show is automatically better than The Sip, because he's just like, sorry, but Ryland. I just know face for everyone. You're a background character, and you got lucky enough to get with someone who has 20 million followers, but you're a background character.
Well, that's like me, except it's way down on the list.
No,
I'm a background character, and I'm here.
No way. You're so charismatic and witty and funny, and you're one of my best mates, and you're a bit of an arsehole sometimes, but you're all right. You're
Mostly
like my mentor. Ryland's he's the type of person that eats with his mouth open on camera.
ooh,
Because all
No.
influencers seem to that seems to happen to all influencers. They just stop being able to close up. Even people I
Is it
like.
because they're all mouth breathers? So
Maybe.
I'm not sorry.
But Ryland Adams, he got into some trouble. So then he decided to turn off the to dislike bar and turn off the comments. And then it just spread like a virus. It spread to all of his other videos because people were downvoting them to utterly oblivion. So then he was turning off even more comments. And then his co-host, Men Be Equals, said, I didn't even know you'd turn off the comments until I just saw one day. So he didn't even inform her. Rude. I'll let you know if I decide to turn off all the comments.
trying to do it on this video just be really annoying.
That is peak comedy right there.
But yeah, no, it's I've seen it happen recently. It was a certain someone who, not to name names, but criticised people for doing just that and turning off the comments and hiding the likes and dislikes. And then when he got a bit of criticism, he did the same thing. And so people tried to go to Twitter and he started blocking people. So people created a little Reddit to go talk about him. And it just it blew up. And that Reddit now has 1,500 people in it. Just talking about him. And because he shut down that conversation about that one thing, now they're picking apart all these other tiny little things he's doing, and it's building and building. So I think, just let people have their say, let them get it out, and it might be hard to listen to at first, but then just take a break and come back when you're less emotional, because I can be super defensive at times. And when I first see something, sometimes I'm I didn't mean it like that, and it really upsets me. But then you go take a break and you're I kind of did have a point, even if I didn't mean it like that. Maybe it came across that way. Should probably apologise for that. And I've gone back, it's going to sound ridiculous, I've gone back months later to a comment and been yeah, I'm sorry, you were right.
I used to.
It gets in my head so much, and I just think about it, and I'm just yeah, no, I need to apologise for that.
Several years ago when I was younger and much more immature, I still think I'm immature now, but kind of wise. I used to just full on just argue with people, and it wasn't even arguing, it was literally me saying, shut up, don't care, virgin, go away, you're boring. Which to me, so I still think that's funny now.
Yeah,
I
but
still think
to
that's
be
funny
fair,
now.
If you're not blocking them and stuff, you're still letting them have their say, and they're still getting it out. And I still think
All engagement for the algorithm.
Exactly, it feeds into the algorithm.
it's not even just an engagement thing though, is it? It's just letting people have their say. I think if you're emotional about something, let them get it out.
I think we should see which YouTubers are most evolved and adapted to cannibalize other YouTubers.
God. Oh, so this is what
Who's born with the shortest intestine?
So go back to the cannibal thing though. This is what you missed when you walked in, what we were talking about. So in academia, there's different definitions for what cannibalism is. And the broadest definition is just one species eating another member of its own species. But to what extent? So hear me out, one little individual of a species going and killing and eating another, that's cannibalism. But what if you go and scavenge a bit of a dead body of your same species? Is that cannibalism, even if you didn't kill it? Or if you just go and have a nibble of someone's leg or something and then let them go on their way, but you're still eating it but they're alive, is that cannibalism? Or to
I'm gonna
what
go
extent?
ahead and say all
so
three.
to that extent, is breastfeeding cannibalism?
It's like cheeky cannibalism, but minor. That's what I was saying was minor cannibalism. That's what you walked into. Cheeky cannibalism. Way.
Think about
Lads.
think about like a fetus in the womb, essentially feeding off the mother to some extent. Is that cannibalism? Because there's a species of spider where she gives birth to her little eggs and they all hatch and they all kind of like eat little bits around. And then it gets to a certain point where, in order for them to grow, she does this thing where she taps on the web of her web, you know what I'm trying to say, and she calls all the little baby spiders to her and they cover her body and they eat her. And that's how her babies grow and carry on. And she's completely dead and gone.
That's true, mother's love. Wow, that's so.
Mine wouldn't do
that's
that
so
for me.
lovely.
How efficient and terrifying.
But so this is like the whole thing. To what extent is it cannibalism? Is it when your babies completely eat you, or is it when they just suck a few of your nutrients out of you?
How do you know all this stuff? What are you reading? What are you doing in your
The
spare
fun
time?
stuff. It's literally a book called Cannibalism. It's great. I can't remember the author, but I'll let you know.
Jesus.
You look so bemused by this. You look
I'm trying to-
slightly shocked.
I'm trying to find the line in my head where I think breastfeeding, because I don't think breastfeeding would be classed as cannibalism.
Well, you wouldn't think it because it's so normal.
Because
But
it's, I don't know, it's not really a detriment. That's the thing. It's not affecting
True.
it's not causing any kind of damage, really.
Well,
it can
yeah.
if the baby bites, or
Yeah.
it can really hurt. You don't have
Yeah.
boobs. You don't have I'm not a breastfed either, but you don't know.
You gonna,
Yeah.
you gonna play this card way?
No boob
Yeah.
milk, no opinion.
pregnancy
Okay.
in general
joking,
is
sorry.
horrific.
Do you
it
think
does
it
damage
is
the
there-
mother.
All right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pregnancy like does a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
is
are
a huge
unaware.
strain, but
Not even that though. Like I knew someone that that got cavities because of their pregnancy, because the baby was like leaching like
Yeah.
nutrients and calcium.
If the mother
calcium
doesn't eat enough calcium, baby will leach it from your bones and your
can
teeth.
displace your organs.
I
It's
still
like,
think there's a
I
slight-
would
That
I'm never
woman
doing
on
it.
TikTok, like she like lost all her teeth from it.
there's a slight difference though between like, okay, yeah, maybe painful breastfeeding or something, and then a toddler gnawing on your calf. Literal ankle biters. Like,
There is a difference, but why?
I
And
will
where do you
work
draw
it
that-
out by episode 3 and read out my statement.
Here's another thing for you. So there's some species of like sand shark that so basically the way sharks release kind of eggs is they'll release lots of different ones in lots of different stages, and some of them get fertilized, and then certain ones grow and will eat the other ones inside the shark essentially, and eat the other sharks at different stages and whatever. And there's two ovaries, two fallopian tubes, so there's kind of two baby sharks in there, and then the sharks are born because they basically fought their way out of the womb, and that's technically classed as cannibalism in an academic setting. So is a baby like a twin that absorbs their twin in utero, is that a cannibal?
Isn't that called cannibalizing when
Maybe, yeah.
the two fuse? That makes that baby shark song a bit weird, doesn't it?
Can you do a whole video on things like this? I would find it so fascinating. I love listening to stuff like this. This is why I like Ancient Aliens so much.
Except this stuff's real.
How dare you?
How dare you? Ancient Aliens is the most factual show on the History Channel.
Actually, it probably is.
It's my favorite show ever. It's just so good. I want to make my own version, like a YouTube version of, because TV's not coming to me, so I'm going to create TV until they take notice of me and get
Do
me to
it.
post
We're
an
gonna
episode.
we're gonna do that though, aren't we? We're gonna take a camera out. We're gonna take our
Motion.
energetic videographer out. We'll take him out places, and we'll go find haunted spots. We'll find places
Yeah,
where
got
UFOs
it planned.
have been definitely sighted by people who aren't mental.
Yep.
I saw UFO
We've been talking about
to
this
prove
for
your
years.
point. Yeah, I saw UFO when I was like a kid, and my
Trustworthy Hoxton lady sights UFO. All right, mate.
how's it going? You're right. I deserve, out of everyone here, I deserve to meet an alien the most. I was their biggest supporter from day one. I was praying to aliens when I was a kid just to not go to
You
school.
don't think
I
they'd
had
find that
all
creepy?
the Alien books as a kid. I
Loved
loved it
that shit.
so much. I was so convinced I was going to meet an alien. It was like when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to be the first person on Mars. I'm going to go and I'm going to meet aliens. And that, I genuinely believed that as a child. It was great. Don't know what happened.
And as a teenager, you still
As an adult, I'm actually, this is it's a tricky topic for me to navigate because I get really passionate about this. Because, I mean, look, for the people that are like, well, I've just never seen a UFO or met an alien, so I don't believe them. And it's like, well, why the fuck would they meet you? Like, what do you have to offer? Nothing. Sorry, I get so
Hang on,
mad
this
about
is-
this.
Sounds like you're dating again.
What?
What do you have to offer me?
Nothing.
Get away.
Go away. Stop looking at me.
These are like the men on the street earlier.
just men stare at me, and it's annoying, and it's not in like I'm not known, like they wouldn't recognize me. It's just oh, that's a woman with hair, so I'm gonna look at her a little bit, and I don't like it, so just don't stare. Stop laughing, Kes Motion. It's not fun to, like, when they so obviously are ogling at you, and it's like, mate, I'm like a 4 on a good day. What are you ogling at? Enough. No, right. The Pentagon came out and were like, yeah, they exist. The Pentagon, right? The Pentagon even admitted that they have UFOs. They have UFOs. Test on them. The Pentagon admitted it. It's not enough for some people. Buzz Aldrin went to the fucking moon. He says aliens exist and UFOs exist.
Does
It's not
he?
enough for people. Yes. One of
didn't know
the
that.
former head of the Ministry of Defence in Canada came out and said UFOs are as real, that's a direct quote, as the airplanes above your head. And there's a lot of countries, right, where their Ministry of Defences are worried that America is going to drag us into some sort of intergalactic war because yada, 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 of course, right? So this topic, it just annoys me. Like, the universe is so big. There's 180 million or so planets capable of forming life, and people I had like kids at school because I was like the alien kid at school. I had kids at school being like, oh, they don't exist though, right? And I was like, you're like 8. What do you know? What do you know? And also, what a like terminal lack of unimagination. How can you not? Well, it's
Double
so
negative
far
there.
past your conception that there might be some other life form somewhere in this vast
And
universe.
they want to come and talk to you.
They would. I'm well interested. I want to be the first podcast host to have I want to be the first part. I just got distracted then by Kes Motion.
I don't know how the
taking
internet
selfies.
works. Does the internet broadcast into space through satellites and stuff? Does it like bounce off things? Could you bounce?
Surely satellites.
Could you bounce this podcast into space and out?
Imagine if some aliens were receiving a frequency to watch some YouTube videos, and they're watching James Charles' 100th apology for those kids. Oh, shouldn't use that word. No, those men. They were just tricking me.
We'll edit that out. Probably.
We're not. No, I'm keeping that in. That's all. I'd say that to his face. That's my rule. Don't say anything you wouldn't say to his
Serious
face.
question though, right? You reckon they're aliens? How do you reckon they communicate? It's not going to be like through words and stuff. It's like, what do you reckon it's
Interpretive
going to
dance.
be? That's how I would. But, but like, do you think it's like they communicate on like a chemical level or like
I don't
visual
know.
signs? Or like,
Smells.
I don't know
well, it's chemical, isn't it?
Yeah.
because they might not be carbon-based life forms. They could be something else entirely. They could be fucking photons of light that have consciousness.
Yeah.
I simply don't know. And that's what's so exciting to me, because it's like you can have so much imagination with this stuff. That's why I like Ancient Aliens so much. 'Cause I know some people take umbrage with Ancient Aliens, but it's like, oh, it's just a bit of fun, because like they're just kind of like the first half of the show will be based in reality, then the second half of the show will be like, well, what if
Wild speculation.
what if Nazis from Nazi Germany escaped in a time-traveling quantum leaping bell? That is from a real episode called, I think it's called Ancient Aliens and the Third Reich. That is a real episode in like season 2 or so of Ancient. It's the best one. It's so funny, isn't it, Kes Motion? Nods, yes. Actually, I want to move on from this hot topic because I don't want NASA banging at my door. Moving on to something I want to touch on briefly. YouTuber burnout and imposter syndrome. Do you experience it? How do you deal with it?
Constantly, and not very well.
Let's commiserate for a second. When do you feel burnt out? Because I know when I feel burnt out.
For me, it's like, you know when you've been putting a lot of work in and you think you have these like great videos and you've got them out and you work so hard on them and then they just don't get the views? Like that just, it's upsetting. And like, you know, you can do like a video that you don't really care about that much. Well, it's not that you don't care about it. It's just like it wasn't like a lot of work, for example, but it's got someone's name in the title or whatever, it gets a ton of views. And like, you know, you can do that stuff. But when you actually like put work into like researching a video, and you spent hours on this, and you've like written this amazing script, and you've done like all this stuff and the editing and this, and then it gets like, 15,000 views, and you're like, well, it's good, but it's not gonna like pay the rent. And so you have to start on another one and another one, and you're just like working and working and not getting anything in return. And like, you want to feel proud of your work, but at the same time, like, you've got rent to pay, and it's just a bit like, it's exhausting, and you feel like it's never going to end, and you're just constantly going to be like reaching and reaching and reaching and just never quite getting there. And like, because if there's one good thing that's come out of like these last couple of months, is that my channel views have gone up. And it's been nice that I've not had to worry about, am I going to be able to pay my rent this month, because like, 1.5 weeks in, it's paid for, and everything else I can just do for fun. And that's nice, and you're so creative, and like, you can create the content you want. Like my fungi video, I was able to go out and do that as like a passion project, and it was so much fun. And again, didn't get the views, but it didn't matter because my rent was already paid for. So like, that stuff's nice, but I don't really know how to like combat that other than to just keep grinding through and working and just trying a little bit harder all the time. But then you get burnt out, and I don't know.
Do you experience imposter syndrome when you know that you can just put some other YouTuber's name in the title and it automatically get 100k views?
Yeah.
Does that give you a
Constantly.
sense of worthlessness?
Yeah. Because, like, as much as people say, like, oh, no, we are here because we care about your commentary and we care about your views, I'm like, okay, well, why does, like, so-and-so's name get 100,000 views and Fungi get none? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you really care about my commentary, they'll be a little bit more even, but they're not. So then you start thinking, well, like,
is this all I'm good for?
yeah. And you're like, well, okay then, like, they're clearly more relevant than me, that's fine, because they've got millions of subscribers and whatever, and people have this opinion on them and stuff. And you don't necessarily want the reputation that they have because it's a bad one and people don't respect them, and that's why they're clicking, and you don't want that. But you're like, well, how do I, like, get people to respect me and take me seriously while still getting their attention? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know the balance. It's hard.
I think it's nice though that you said about the rent. Once it's paid for, you become more creative. Because there's so many people who like stress this point that you have to be like under pressure to create things, and I just don't think that's true.
No.
Like there's always like the great man theory. That there's these people are exceptional and they do amazing things and achieve great things, but actually a lot of the time, just being relaxed creates good art. Or like collaboration as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to be fearing like poverty and starvation.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's what it is for me. It's like when I know I've just got time to do what I care about and I don't have like financial pressure, I can let go. I can do like the best work, and that's when you haven't got like a time restraint, you can do more research and you can make sure the videos are actually really good quality and put your time in and get your editing right and that sort of thing. Whereas if you're like, okay, well, I need a video out by like 9 p.m. tonight, and then you have to rush your editing, and that's when you make mistakes, and that's when it's a bit of an issue. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I do my best work, I think, when I am rushed and under pressure.
I think maybe though that's because you've got like a goal. Because sometimes when you're talking, you say like, I don't know what to do a video on. But when you are under pressure, you're forced to choose.
Well, that's because
there's two sides to it, but
that's because so I was listening to this podcast like with this neuroscientist talking about like how to achieve better focus, etc., and it's something to do with like I don't know, it's called like noradrenaline, like some form of adrenaline is released when you do feel under pressure, and you can actually there's a way, like a breathing technique to get your body to like release little bits of adrenaline. It's a really good podcast. I'll send it to you. I put it on my community tab. And the adrenaline, like when you're trying to focus on a task and you feel like agitated, uneasy, and like listless, if you just stick with it, then like the adrenaline like kicks in a little bit, and then you can focus properly. That's the case with me, because with me the hardest thing is starting anything. I will piss around, I will procrastinate for hours, like days, but then when I actually do it, I find that I enjoy it and it's good.
Speaking of starting things, do we have time for questions?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So I did ask on my Patreon to give us some questions before me and Rachel Well, all of these can pertain to us, but let's try and get through all of them. And if you want to ask us questions, then sign up to my Patreon. If you could appear or compete on any reality/competition show, what would you pick? I know easily. Either... No, not Come Dine on Me. I wouldn't do that. Made in Chelsea. I would be on Made in Chelsea. And I'd just slag everyone off all the time. It would be the perfect role for me. You guys.
God, I don't know. I don't watch like reality or like
Me neither.
Competition shows?
competition shows. Oh,
Come
maybe.
Dine on Me, Four in a Bed.
Fuck yeah, Takeshi's Castle if that's still going.
Oh, yeah.
My uncle
Oh,
was
it'd
on
be
Four in a
terrible.
Bed.
Was he? How'd he do?
And really badly. They lost like quite badly. But there's this great shot of like, because clearly my auntie was the one who wanted to go on. And there's this great shot of him where they're doing interviews, and there's like talking head bits, and he clearly doesn't want to be in the shot. So she's like sat on the edge of the bed talking to the camera, and Uncle Keith is just in the bed with like the duvet up to here, just looking like a little thumb, and he's just like, yeah, I agree, it's wonderful. He's
Like the uncle from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
there's no uncle in that.
The grandparents.
That's the
Grandpa
grandparents.
Joe. The
Oh,
uncle.
yeah, no.
Is it uncle? I haven't
Get
seen
it
it
right.
in ages.
Sort it out.
Yeah, it's Grandpa Joe and
They're all
others.
terrible people.
Oh yeah.
How set up is Four in a Bed, did he say?
Um,
Because Come Dine on Me, apparently they film like for ages, and then they all just end up getting
Really?
ridiculously drunk because of the
Nice.
late filming times.
So he was
Nearly
on like
happened
the
here.
first. He was on the first season, so I think it was pretty legit at that point. And like there were some bits where I think it was him that said this, but there was something where they had to like prepare breakfast or something, and they were doing it like middle of the afternoon. Like so they were like serving like sausage and like eggs and whatever at like 3 p.m. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't answer. I'd probably want to do something like X Factor because I'm a really, really bad singer. And I just think it'd be hilarious.
Oh, you could be on the rejected list
Yeah,
where
yeah,
people go on.
that would
and-
be me. It would be wonderful.
What would you sing?
Ooh, something that really shows off my vocal range. Like
Oh, go really low down.
ooh,
Sort
that
of Barry
could work.
White level.
Yes. Oh, I do Barry White on X Factor.
What would you do on X Factor?
I don't know. I barely know what I'm doing right now.
Do the Little Mermaid. But you could really act out on the stage there.
Shut up.
Oh, I'd love that actually. Like some really like crazy performance with like dancing and arm swinging and everything. I'd really get into it and just be terrible. It'd be so good.
Next question.
Sorry.
If
Went too close to home.
if you two were to review each other's books, what score would you give it? Well, I think like if you came out of a book, it would be very good because you clearly know a lot of
you.
stuff and you like to research. The amount of research that Rachel puts into it's quite funny if you compare like your. What are you guys laughing at? What have I done now? What social
Because
faux
I
pas have
understand
made?
your process.
What is my process?
You don't want me to. You don't want me to tell people.
It's me yelling.
Mostly yelling at me or one of your other friends.
Not at my mates, just like yelling into the void and then having them like be privy to that so then they could be like, because people like my mates just laugh when I go off on one, so I know like kind of what to use. No, but like the process that Rachel does for your like the Shane Dawson videos, and you were so thorough.
Yeah.
And then mine, I made 2 videos because I couldn't have the focus to sit through that fucking thing in one go. And
Understandable.
mine was just mainly, oh, what an idiot. But Rachel comes with like facts and logic and research and so yours would be
Thank
very
you.
good.
Thank
You've
you.
already
I've already reviewed your book and absolutely 11 out of 10 would recommend everyone should buy it. Well worth the
Here's
99p on
Morgan's
Amazon.
Vegan Lover. What's it called that?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it's called.
I guess
It
so. I don't know. I
was.
read it a few times because I had to proofread.
Yeah, Rob proofread it for me because, well, Rob's a writer. He writes stuff.
Sometimes I'll begin a sentence with a full stop. Garth Marenghi.
Okay, moving on to the next question.
Have you read Christine Bock's Eunoia?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'll tell you about that later. I did a
Is it
video
like the
on
Exeter text where there's either no E's or all E's?
Kind of, yeah. It's basically around that, but each chapter is written only using one vowel.
Yeah.
So we have a chapter of A's, chapter of E's, O, U, and I.
Do you know
I,
the,
O,
do you know the
U.
term for that?
Oh, I want to say like it's not a lipogram. That's not it. Or what is
Oulipo.
it?
It's
Sorry?
like the when you give yourself a constraint.
Yeah.
We used to do them at a writing group I was at.
Yeah. You'll like his book. There's like a whole little section at the back of like little things he did. Like he wrote a whole sort of poem using only words from vowel. It was cool.
Look at this. They've made friends. It's all because of me. I bring people together. I'm
And we'll
great.
turn on you.
You say
You won't be able to beat me.
you say friends, but he did call me an annoying little sister earlier. Like
Was
like
that
an
on air
annoying
or
little
off?
Sister.
I'll
I
say
don't
it
know.
again.
But I'm shaming you for it now.
Next question.
Next question. How long have you all been friends? How did you meet for me and you?
Oh, we met because you made an Onision video and I thought it was hilarious and I commented something and then we got chatting.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I just like at some point me and Rachel just followed each other and I don't remember how or why, like no idea. And then
Onision.
Wow.
Wow.
What a
Onision, who still does videos on him? Doesn't bring in any views. God, he's so irrelevant, which
he really
is a good thing.
does bring people together though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Out of a sense of morbid curiosity.
Oh God, he is fascinating.
You told the story of our meeting in the Lost episode.
Oh, we filmed a pilot and then it will never be shown.
The fabled pilot episode. We became friends probably later today because I'd say it's too soon.
Yeah.
We
I
just
mean,
met.
I'm just tolerating you for now.
Hurtful.
I think you're all right.
That hurt here
Oh, the tension
and here.
cut with a knife.
I pointed to my my brain and my heart for listeners.
But then I did Piers Morgan's Vegan Lover, and then Rachel, like out of nowhere, just did a video on it.
I
and
thought it was hilarious. I
thought,
loved
oh,
it.
that's nice. And then we met up for coffee around about that time, and just remained good mates.
Rachel, you're saying there's a dearth of good erotica. Would you say out of 10, the standard rating scale, how
Yeah.
turned on were you by the sausage roll story?
Well, I'll be honest, it had everything I want in good erotica. It had flaky pastry, it had tension, it had Piers Morgan. So it's definitely a 10 out of 10.
I know how to make a sexy story out of sausages.
That's the end of the podcast.
And on that bombshell, that is indeed the end of. I keep saying that in like my videos recently too, and I don't know where it's come from.
Top Gear.
No, I know where it's come from, but I don't know why I'm saying it. I don't make a habit of watching Top Gear. I'm not my dad. Like, okay. But that is the end of this episode. Thank you so much, Rachel Oates, for coming down. Subscribe to our channel. You probably are already subscribed to our channel. Rob.
All right, I'll be back.
Rob, if I can say anything, that it is that you were here, existing. That's the
Wow.
highest praise you'll get from me.
Again, hurtful, but fine. I'll just get used to that.
And that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. We make new podcasts whenever we feel like. Just doing my like standard outro. No, we're going to be putting out podcasts weekly. So
Every week this. Every week this. Can you
fun
imagine?
times, right?
Wait, you have to put up with him every week?
Yes.
Up yours,
Okay.
Rachel Oates.
Okay, it's going to get violent. So bye.
I've just made a lot of friends in America with that.